do you think it's hard for boxers to once they start to get to that level of someone like Deontay Wilder, that you sort of believe your own hype and what's going on around you, and is it too difficult to
Oh,
block that
that's a
back?
great question. So here I'll tell you what kind of the official stance is, and all this, right? So a fighter is never supposed to be like, I can't beat this guy.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think if you're a good fighter, you never believe that. That's why you got people around you who are supposed to look at the opponent, look at the situation, and go, okay, you're not quite ready yet. Now we don't tell them that,
Yeah.
but we do something else. That works until it doesn't work, and where it doesn't work is when you're talking about championship fights, especially fights where we're talking about unifying belts and rematches. You don't get that hype. You don't get to go because you have to fight these guys. These are mandatories now, are the best in the world, and so it's very dependent on your personality. But if you're going to believe your hype at any point in your career, that's when you start to really eat it up. Where you don't, where the guys. Now you go and walk through a few guys. This is why Canelo's so great, by the way. You watch Canelo's entrance, and approach to the ring. It is very it is a relaxed focus. That's what I would call it. I wouldn't call it like Usyk. That's a very intense focus, and but you could tell this is not a guy that he knows. He's very confident in the work he's done. His personality, at the very least, is not boasting that he believes his own hype. But I do think every fighter has to believe his own hype. Like you're just not going to get far if you think you got lucky every time.
Yeah.
This is not or boxing is not the activity where imposter syndrome can rear its ugly head. Because you got to be able to, because it's there to actually affect certain things, like the defense. It's a very simple idea. Defense, right? And ideally, when you defend or when you evade a punch, you slip it just enough. You don't slip too much because then you're not in position to counter, and it takes a lot more energy to pull yourself back online. But you got to slip it just enough where almost it just touches you, or you want to punch. If it did, the Canelo does is great. When a punch is about to hit you, just roll with it. Roberto Duran was good with it too, but to roll with a punch correctly, you got to let the punch hit you. You got to be confident that there's no imposter and says, you'll just jump too much. You'll be too early, too late, and it won't work. All right. So these guys got to believe their own hype. You have to. I don't think believing your own hype is mutually exclusive with humility. As weird as that sounds, like you have to. It's because when I hear believe my own hype, I go, I just hear extreme self confidence. Now when you look at like guys like, man, unfortunate for Deontay Wilder, man, we had a really likable for a moment anyhow, American champion. And he really just kind of screwed the pooch on that. But how he did it was he had this idea of invincibility, and it got shattered not once, not twice, not three times, but three times. And now, granted, anybody in boxing, if you talk to anybody in boxing, we knew he couldn't really fight, and I knew Fury was going to beat him. If for any of the reason, Fury was just bigger and more skilled. I mean, this is a guy that's been fighting his whole life, and it's the first time Deontay Wilder saw someone taller. We knew that from a skill-wise perspective, but the attitude gets shattered, it gets broken down, because now you go, wow, I'm not what I thought it was. How do you respond? If it's just confident, if you believe in your own hype, right? Then you come back to the drawing board and you get better. If it's this weird overconfidence, there's like identifying personally, you come back out like you do in the third fight, and to a lesser degree, the second fight.